Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and members of our community. Welcome to Finance Hub with Dr. Joseph Eyakibonga, a seasoned professional accountant, an investment banker, a finance professional, and an economist. I have about 20 years experience in the Nigerian capital market and finance industry. Please, you are encouraged to share this particular video with your contacts, your business community, your friends, your associates. This particular training we are doing is to ensure that we pass knowledge to entrepreneurs and SME operators because we want growth. It being more people pay for it, but it's absolutely free from the finance hub. So today we are going to talk about how to grow this your enterprise, this your small business, into a public limited liability company. In fact, into what we call a PLC. How would you feel when it's that your business is now Okoro Nigeria PLC? And it's possible. A lot of us entrepreneurs have not taken that track because we don't know. And that's why they say the use of knowledge, not just knowledge that is power, but the use of knowledge is power. So there is a difference between the private limited liability company, which is LTD, and the public limited liability company, PLC. So the private limited liability company, as defined by the law, is a company that is owned by a minimum of 2 shareholders and a maximum of 50 shareholders. So when you go to CAC and you do that 1 million shares registration, it's a private company, limited by shares. It's a corporate soul. It has its advantages. So like there's this popular saying that says, it is good to start small, but don't remain small. So when you say, I'm a small business, I'm a medium business, yes. But in your business vision, if you have not done that, do it now. Put it in your growth trajectory. At year XYZ, I want to be a corporate company listed on a capital market, the Nigerian Exchange Limited, former Nigerian Stock Exchange. So how do you transition from being an LTD to PLC? That is why we are here. So for you to be a public company in Nigeria, you also go to CAC and register your company as a public limited liability company. So you need minimum of 7 shareholders, and there are no maximum. So what are the advantages of being a public company? One, you'll be traded on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So you can just on the TV now and we'll see your company's name on the stock exchange. How will you feel that those analysts are talking on the TV and it is your company's name? See, the bulls are winning, the bears, market is down, and your company is there. Just like every other company you are seeing on the exchange. It is possible. So, but what you cannot achieve what you are not seeing. So please, as part of your strategies, 10-year strategy, 5-year strategy, I want to be on the Nigeria Exchange Limited. What are the advantages of a public limited liability company? One, you have access to limitless capital. There is an expansion possibility. In fact, it is just as like the Bible, what the Bible says, and go to the Bible, what can you see? So the expansion opportunity for a public limited liability is a function of what do you want? What can you see? Provided you have run your company properly. So one, you have expansion opportunity. 2, you can raise money from the public through the public offer or the initial public offer. When you come to the exchange and say, I want to raise money, I want to expand my business. So this one's now, you don't need to know anybody. All you need to do is, when you have been on the exchange for a period of time and maybe through offer by introduction, then you come for your initial public offering where investors come and subscribe to the shares of your company, and you have capital to expand your business. So there are going to be more shareholders. There are going to be a board of directors that are going to run the company, and the ownership is separated from management. So it's is a big place to be, and it's also a good place to aspire to as a small business owner. And if, like, the good thing about the public company is that if you don't want to be shareholder again, you go to the stock exchange or the Nigeria Exchange Limited and you sell your shares, take your money and you move on. Some other person will buy the shares from your company. And the company outlives the founder. It outlives the founder. But one of the drawbacks is that you are going to be more scrutinized. The regulatory requirements are more. So there is nothing hidden about the business. The stock exchange is watching what you are doing. The Securities and Exchange Commission is interested in what you are doing. The investors and shareholders are interested. But the truth is that it's a good feeling. So we want you to aspire to be a company that's listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and to encourage SMEs to participate in the Nigeria capital market. The listing requirements have been streamlined. So with a 50 million naira turnover for 2 to 3 years, you are qualified to be on the growth board of the exchange. So what is stopping you? So if your company has a turnover of 200 million, 300 million, 500 million, then you need to be on the stock exchange, the Nigeria Exchange Limited. Then you need to publish an account of 2-3 years. You are there. So these are part of the listing requirements to be on the Nigeria Exchange Limited. But before we conclude this particular lecture, the Nigeria capital market now, we have about 3 exchanges. So we have the Nigeria Exchange Limited, which is the one we all know as the Nigeria Stock Exchange. It used to be called the Nigerian Stock Exchange, but today it's called Nigeria Exchange Limited. We have the FMDQ. FMDQ is also a market. Before now, it's for unquoted companies. But so you can go through the FMDQ. And then there's also the NASD PLC. So these are 3 exchanges. But for Nigeria Exchange Limited, which was formerly Stock Exchange, they've come up with criteria for SMEs to list. And we want to encourage as many SMEs that have up to 50 million turnover, that have up to 100 million turnover, 500 million turnover, and have operated for more than 2 years to come up. Let's help them get the listing of the exchange so that your company will not just be a local player, will be a global company. Thank you.